competing on the big hill now?
I'm struggling a bit with the big hill, but my jumps get better and better, and I hope, to show good jumps for our jumps and hopefully be in maybe top 5.
Okay, we are at the moment we're in the Olympic hill, and the next Olympics are just a few weeks ago. How do you prepare?
We have some more World Cup competitions. We go to Japan, Willingen, and then get ready for the Olympic Games. It's not more time to train, but I think it's good to be in a rhythm of competitions, and I hope my jumps get better and better.
Okay, good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to China. We are here in Zhangjiakou, China for the women's individual hill size 140 part of the Viessmann FIS ski jumping World Cup. Exciting for us, of course, we recognize this venue as the site of the 2022 Olympic Games. But the difference is today the women are jumping on the large hill, whereas in 22 the women were competing solely on the normal hill. So I'm also looking forward to more opportunities for the women at the 2026 Olympics. And we are just 2 days away from the end of the qualifying period. So it is really exciting. Things are ramping up, and we know we have our eyes set on the games. But before then, we have quite a few more competitions to come. We heard from Katharina Schmidt before. She said she's still finding her way on this large hill, and she's going to do what she can. Not a lot of time left for training ahead of the games, but it's important to keep the flow going and stay focused. Schmidt, of course, had found great success here at the Olympics in 22 with a silver medal. As a reminder, the women's normal hill podium was Ursula Bogataj, Katarina Althaus, and Nika Krishnar. Interestingly enough, now Katharina Schmidt and Nika Vodon. So those two are still very much contenders. Ursula has since retired, and we'll definitely be continuing to tune in and cheer on the women. I feel like once you're part of the ski jumping community, you can't help but check on what everybody else is doing and continue to cheer for your teammates. Speaking of teammates, excited to see Team USA represented well today in the competition by Annika Belshaw, Paige Jones, and Sandra Sprock. The US team, of course, having great momentum at the moment, and we're excited to see what they can do here. Big adjustment coming from Lubno. Let's hear from Anna Odinestrom.
After already winning one World Cup in Whistler, you had a small break before China. What did you do?
I got some work to do. I had some work to do after Villach, so I put in some work. And then I took a break because it's been a hectic season and it's getting even busier, and we're going to the Olympics soon, so I had some work to do and I had to just take a break and relax.
So for everyone, we have a new hill for the ladies. How do you prepare for that?
I just try to keep my basic stuff, do my basic stuff well. The new hill, it's different. Thankfully, my brother was here for the Continental Cup, so I got a report from him on how the hill was, and it's lovely. It's a great hill, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the competition here.
Okay, so good luck for the competition. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like that was a classic Anna Odinestrom interview right there. Really cute. She said she got a report from her brother. It's like the ski jumping family, you know. I'm not sure if a report is enough for me to know what a hill is like, but yeah. So great to have the full field back. It was clear that some athletes chose to get in a week of training between Villach and now Zhangjiakou, leaving out Lubno. So slightly reduced field in Lubno. And yeah, I mean, as we know, there isn't much time, so if you do need to make any technical adjustments, or, I mean, equipment plays a big role, you want to make sure you have the right gear going towards the Olympics, fighting on the highest stage, and the Norwegians did just that. So we're excited to have the full field back. We're excited to have Sweden back, Norway. Who else were we missing? Yeah, some of those big names out there. But here you have a look at the statistics about the hill. K-point 125, hill size 140. So in the trial round, so we had the qualification yesterday, cutting down to top 40. Top 40 were able to compete in the trial round. We saw a variety of gate choices, anything from gate 21 to 17. Long jump was Nika Preutz at 135.5 from the lowest gate. So that is important to note, of course. She is currently the World Cup overall leader, but we have Nozomi Maruyama rejoining. The Japanese team was another team that we were missing in Lubno, but we're excited to have them back here. I know that they had a chance to go back home. Of course, the Japanese, kind of like the North Americans, having to spend so much time away from home, so they took advantage of that week, went home, went back to Japan, and then arrived here in China, ready for the competition. So 2 World Cups here, and then I think the final teams will have to be named probably the start of next week. Every country has a different qualifying qualifying rules. And so for some nations, even if you do make the Olympic qualification, you have to achieve a certain result for your country in order to start. So a little complicated, but I think the best strategy is just sitting back and watching it all pan out. Of course, we'll be cheering for the women today and seeing what happens. Agnieszka Indrachkova, DNS, already defined. Not sure what's going on with that. Frida Viessmann, of course, from Sweden. She hit the mark with her great results already, so she hit that qualification for Sweden, which is great. Ping Tsong from China, we're very excited. She's now in the top 10 overall. She has been looking forward to competing here on what you could call the home hill. I'm hoping to see a few fans come out. I remember during the Olympics, we had a pretty full stadium, and it was exciting to see a new country getting into the sport. And of course, China, since the Olympics, the team has really developed, and we've been seeing really strong results from the team in the last month especially. So hoping that continues here at home. And yep, so competition today, competition tomorrow. Oh, postponed first round 30 minutes. So, I mean, as much as I like spending time with you, I'm going to take a little break, and I will be back here, I would say, at 9:20. So in 20 minutes, 9:20 European time. Not sure what time local time that is. Yes. So see you back here in 20 minutes. Strong wind conditions. Hopefully it'll be headwind. We've been dealing with tailwind a lot this season. As you can see, top left, you can see the wind nets. And in general, the hill looks to be pretty protected, but I think the landscape leads to a bit of wind. Anyway, long story short, see you back here in 20 minutes. For those of you in North America, I hope you... I don't know what you're going to do. It's the middle of the night, so maybe enjoy a few more minutes of sleep or another cup of coffee. So see you back here soon, and it'll be a great show, I'm sure of it.
拿个卫生间知道不？外头啊。啊，那边是吧？好。你孩子哪儿呢？是吧？
得我们女子滑雪世界杯的吉祥物。那么现在我们给大家15秒钟的倒计时，抓紧时间扫描二维码进入到极速滑雪比赛当中。大家可以看到，在我们的领奖台上，我们的工作人员拿着的就是我们的吉祥物，是我们本次跳台滑雪女子世界杯的专属吉祥物。想要获得这份吉祥物，就赶快扫描二维码。现在我们的报名人数已经是超过了我们的比赛人数，那么我们马上比赛开始。在进入到我们的二维码的页面当中，我们能够进入到比赛的选手，大家可以在屏幕上和手机上都能看到自己是否已经进入到比赛。我们的比赛开始之后，大家要迅速的摇动手机、晃动手机，来为你所代表的这位滑雪运动员加速，率先冲过终点的前3位，就将获得我们的吉祥物。那么现在比赛开始，3、2、1。加速晃起来大家的手机，看看你是否已经出现在我们的大屏幕上。目前我们有将近100位的滑雪运动员已经蓄势出发了，看看你是否能够在我们的国家跳台滑雪中心也能登上最高的领奖台。现在大家几乎是旗鼓相当，不分伯仲。比赛的时间已经过半了，大家要抓紧，快速的滑动手机、摇动手机，来看一下最终的结果。恭喜登上领奖台的前3名，大家要截图保留一下自己的这个获奖的凭证。前3名的获奖的幸运的观众，可以来到我们的领奖区、领奖台，找我们的工作人员领取我们的吉祥物。祝贺获奖的前3位的幸运观众。稍后在我们的比赛过程当中，我们还将为大家送出我们的吉祥物，也欢迎大家在稍后观看比赛的过程当中继续参加我们的互动游戏。现场的观众一点点领奖的时间，大家凭自己的获奖的记录来到我们的工作人员处领取我们的吉祥物。大家可以看一下我们的获奖的前3名分别是哪3位。恭喜在我们的极速滑雪过程当中获得前3位的3位分别是 Tender、Ben 还有北城木南，恭喜前3位。
2026 Viessmann FIS Ski Jumping World Cup. The competition will be held at the National Ski Jumping Center from January 15th to 17th, 2026.
女士们、先生们，欢迎各位来到国家跳台滑雪中心雪无翼。即将在这里进行的是2025至2026赛季国际雪联女子跳台滑雪世界杯。
Ski jumping became an official event at the Winter Olympics in 1924. It tests the athlete's speed on the slope, the timing of takeoff, and the control of their posture in the air. The winner will be determined by the flight distance and the score for their posture.
跳台滑雪考验着运动员的滑行速度、起跳时机与空中姿态控制，最终将以飞行距离和姿势得分等决出胜负。
The Women's World Cup is the last event of the courtside.
Hello and welcome back to Zhangjiakou, China. We are here for the ski jumping World Cup competition. We had a little bit of a delay this morning and are set to start in about 6 minutes, unless something changes. Keeping an eye on the hill, we expect to see some four jumpers making their way down, flying through the air. We still aren't seeing too many sports fans here in the stadium, hoping to see more of that. And they're in the air now, seeing a four jumper. Again, not too much we can tell from that. The problem before was a little bit too much wind, and I think it was headwind, which is good news for us. But if it's too much, it can prove to be dangerous and unfair if it's really fluctuating a lot. So FIS, of course, doing their very best to make sure we have a fair competition today. As you know, we saw the qualification yesterday, trial round this morning, which we were able to complete. And so now we're just waiting for this first round. 40 athletes will be at the start. From the US, we'll be seeing 3 today, Annika, Paige, and Sandra. Unfortunately, Josie won't be joining us today as she had some issues with her suit in the qualification. And I'm sure the team is working hard to sew those little bits in. With ski jumping, it's the suits and the regulations are very strict, and sometimes as the season progresses, your suits stretch out a little bit, or you have weight fluctuations, and that can change the sizing. So I'm sure that they had plenty of time between yesterday and tomorrow to get that dialed. But I know Josie will be out here today cheering on her teammates, of course. The U.S. team really picking up momentum as they move towards the games. Coming off of last weekend, we saw a career best from Annika, and this season we've seen career best from all 4 of the athletes here in China, actually: Josie, Annika, Paige, and Sandra. So nothing but good news, I would say. Sandra will be starting second today, so if you are tuning in from the U.S., make sure you don't miss the start. We should be good to go in about 3 minutes. As you know, the women, it's a new hill for them. They obviously, a lot of them came to the Olympic Games in 2022, jumped on the normal hill, but have not yet experienced the large hill. So that means they had official training, qualification, and trial round this morning to try to get adjusted. We heard from oh my gosh. We heard from Katarina Schmidt earlier ahead of the quali round, and she said that she's found the hill a little bit challenging, but she's really just taking it jump by jump and would be very happy with the top 5. Of course, everybody would be happy with the top 5 today, so we'll be definitely cheering for them. And of course, Katarina Schmidt, the silver medalist on the normal hill back here in 22. So she definitely probably has fond memories of being here and being at the Olympic Games. So hopefully that continues. So looks like we're seeing a nice intro there on the screens. And what's exciting about this venue is I can hear through the speakers that they're really trying to educate the fans and explain the sport, make sure it's clear, like what's what we're trying to do here. Of course, everyone is trying to jump far and with good style, but that is easier said than done. We saw some far jumps in the trial round, 135.5 from Nika Preutz. And so she'll be obviously trying to match that. And it should be known that she went from gate 17, so low gate, but only time will tell. I feel like with Nika, a lot of her performance, Nika and every athlete is dependent on kind of the state they're in. When she starts to put too much pressure on herself, that's when she gets a little bit cramped and not really as fluid as we see from her best jumps. But she was able to perform in Lubno, which of course you might think it's not the largest hill, so what's the big deal? But to jump in front of the home crowd with those big expectations, a country basically riding on your shoulders, to be able to deliver there, that was big. And of course, Lisa Ader from Austria, fighting hard and unfortunately still waiting for that first World Cup victory, but I don't think we'll have to wait too much longer. She's in really great shape, and yeah, it's only a matter of time for the things to really come together. It was only a point separating her and Nika on the second day in Lubno. So here we go. We do have some Chinese sports fans out here. That's exciting. Like I said, the Chinese team really developed a lot since the 2022 Olympics. And it looks like we are ready to go. Looking up the hill, we are excited to be kicking it off with a French athlete. So 2 French women in the field today. The first one and bib number 1 today. Here comes Emma Chervet. Emma aggressive and keeping that direction. And it's an interesting camera angle we're dealing with here today. It looked to be like she was really on track to go far, but coming down at 101, so quite a bit of hill left there. Really direct with that angle. And this is one of those modern jumps, so you have almost a second flight curve at the bottom. You're going to come in close to the hill, and ideally, right where she came down, you want to kind of start to gain height again. We'll have to wait and see as the bib numbers increase. That means they've scored more World Cup points. But with that, we are excited to welcome Sandra Sprock to the 2022 Olympic Hill. Here she comes. Strong takeoff and more height than Chervet, flying way over the green line. So that is a very good start for her. It looked to be a mini celebration. Of course, Sandra, a really fun athlete to get to know. She wears her emotions on her sleeve, so we will know when she's happy, and we will also know when she thinks she could have done better. So that was a great jump of 111 meters, and she's been so fun to watch her develop. You can see really enjoying time in the air. 111 meters. And a hello to the fans back home. That is our current leader now. We're seeing big deductions for the wind compensation, so a lot of headwind out there, which makes it fun to jump. Next athlete from China, Xiyu Zhu. Not as aggressive, but picking up height, flying way down the hill towards that red line. Of course, that is super important. The Chinese athletes really wanting to perform well in front of their home crowd. And a distance of 123.5. She even had a little bit less headwind. But here, I've talked about it before, Chinese athletes having the opportunity to spend a lot of time training in the wind tunnel, so getting a really good sense for the flight feeling. And she's thrilled to be up there in the lead for now. Into first place, Xiyu Zhu, Sandra Sprock in second. So 40 athletes, and we will obviously be taking 30 with us into the final round and hoping to see the full team with us there. Next up from China, Yangning Wang. Not as aggressive and coming down. Of course, that green line really set far down the hill. Yangning, 19 years old. Looks like she's still missing a little bit of confidence, looking for that rotation. So a lot of the times flying a bit behind her skis and then coming down, finding it tricky to land coming from the back seat. So we'll see where that puts her now. 105.5 meters and into third place. So minus 14.1 points. That is the least deductions we've seen. So the headwind is still present, but not quite as strong as the beginning of the round. Next up from Germany, Emily Tarazza. Looks like Emily was finding that. Oh no. That's unfortunate. I don't think we need to be worried for her, but that is going to give her some major deductions from the judges. Let's take a look at the replay, see what happened. A little late on the timing, but here it looks like she was finding some nice surface area. Had the telemark, and then they're just catching an edge and down. So the team obviously quick to make sure she's okay. Looks to be fine and just a little bit frustrated because that will probably most definitely keep her out of the final. So Zhu currently first, followed by Sprock and Wang. Long jump we've seen today, 123.5 coming out of gate 21. Heinz Kutin, of course, watching that replay, making sure that nothing happened. Here seeing Emily, of course, looking a little bit disappointed with that. And also, you know, when it comes to suits, these are such prized possessions, and it's really unfortunate to have a crash like that where you're just kind of scraping it. But hey, she's safe and sound, and that's all that really, really matters. So back up the hill now. We're looking at two Italians now qualified for today. And these have been the two standard contenders for Italy this year. So great performances by her. Here she comes from Italy, Martina Zanitzar. Low, but she has a rotation. And so there you could see her really grab that headwind, what was available out there. So let's watch the flight curve and get to know this hill a little bit better. That was a jump of 118.5. So you can see late on the timing, but she keeps her upper body really low. Here she's flying over her skis. And there you can see she starts to pick up that headwind and use it to her advantage. And that puts her into second place. Of course, this is a modern profile, and they just redid the jumps in Predazzo. Predazzo, of course, being the Olympic site for the games this year. So it'll be interesting to see how the modern profiles benefit some athletes and really become more challenging for others. Next up from Poland. Here we go. So she's being held on the bar now. I'm looking at the wind compensation. Zanitzar did have minus 21.5, but that is basically middle of the range of what we saw for wind compensation so far. So as you know, we can go up to 60 seconds of yellow. So you're watching that little timer up there. Her coach is watching that, and she also has visibility on that from the top of the hill. We've seen them switch the light at the last second too, so that's important for the athletes to stay ready to go. But that is the red light now, so Pola Beltoska going to be moving off of the bar now. And just like that, here she comes back out onto the bar and ready to go. The light is green, and we are ready for the next contender from Poland, Pola Beltoska. Over her skis, keeping low angle of the upper body and trying to get that telemark in. Distance of 107 meters. Only minus 13.8 points for wind compensation. I say only because it's obviously relative to what we're seeing today, but that is the lowest amount of deductions we've seen. That should put her somewhere in the top 3 for now. And sure enough, right ahead of Sandra, that puts her with 59.8 points into 3rd place. Next up from Canada. Canada, of course, this is a very special place for them. I still remember it so clearly, that historic bronze medal in the team event, the mixed team event. Of course, Nicole was not part of that team, but she is really doing so well this season, and we're excited to see her jump in Italy in just a few weeks. But for now, waiting on the light. And that is 60 seconds, so off the bar for Nicole. And we'll have to hang on for a second. Be curious to see what exactly is going on out there on the hill. Whether they're going to try to give everybody kind of an equal amount. Great jacket down there. Did you see that brown jacket? It was a nice little bear form. Great to see the full field back in action. There we have the Norwegian contenders. Frida Viessmann from Sweden, of course, training in Norway, so adopted by the team. But Nicole is back on the bar now, and let's see if she gets the green. Graphic showing us that there's more headwind, so hopefully she can take advantage of it. Here she comes from Canada, Nicole Maurer. Didn't quite get the rotation. She also isn't quite sure what happened there. Ooh, minus 8.1 points of wind compensation. That is really unlucky. I mean, the start gate is obviously determined. To be decent timing, and usually that's her issue. But it just felt like she didn't have anything out there in the air. That's annoying. 102 meters and into 4th place right now. Now let's see if it's consistent like this or what is happening now. Next up from France, Josephine Pagnet. Smooth. There we go. Getting more back to the Josephine form that we have been missing all year. 111.5 meters, minus 11.7 points of wind compensation. So similar to Nicole, really not getting the full advantage of the headwind. Slowly things are coming together. Josephine really has a good sense for the air. She spent some time this winter coming back and forth from the World Cup, making sure that she's where she wants to be ahead of the Olympics. And into 3rd place for Pagnet. So we are soon going to be seeing our first qualified athletes. Xiyu Zhu with that 123.5 meter jump still in the lead. But next up is her teammate Qi Lu. Did a great competition in Lubno and keeping up. Of course, the Chinese having the advantage of a lot of jumps on this hill. But you can see what it means, the celebration from Qi there. 119.5 meters. Second longest jump we've seen today. Minus 16.3 points of wind compensation. But here, this is what makes the big difference on this hill. You have to be smooth. You have to be over the skis and ready for that second half of the flight. Watching the reaction, she was happy with it. Let's see where that puts her. And into second, and the first qualified athlete, Xiyu Zhu from China. Qi Lu currently in second, 1 out from qualifying. Next to come, really strong in Lubno. Let's see what she can do here. Anna Holland trying hard, but as you can see, what pays off is that really smooth transition, and right over the knoll, we saw her making some corrections there. Anna Holland from Germany coming down at 104 meters. So really trying to be aggressive, but not quite with the skis in connection with her over the knoll. Making the most of it, but unfortunately, that'll put her down in 8th place. So we'll have another chance to see her tomorrow. So currently, 1st and 2nd qualified, 2 Chinese in the field, guaranteed for the 2nd round. Now here is one I love to watch. This has been such a thrill this season. Hetta Hirvonen from Finland, 17 years old. And nice looking jump for the young Finn. Of course, she's part of that contingent going back and forth between the Nordic Combined World Cup and Ski Jumping World Cup. Finland, yeah, really, I think shocking the world this season. Really young, up-and-coming athlete, but proving herself not only on the Nordic Combined circuit, but also over here on the ski jumping circuit. And another fun fact, I guess, would be that they have to jump in different helmets depending on which sport they're competing in, because the sponsorship rights are different for the ski jumping versus Nordic Combined teams. So that's why you're seeing that change in color scheme. But Hetta Hirvonen into 3rd place and qualified. Next up from Slovenia, here comes Maja Kovacic. Nice looking ride. Good looking jump there. Also getting down into that 120 plus meter range. There you can see this is the new generation of ski jumpers. Hetta 17, Maja 19. And just this really smooth connection and the skis coming with her. That's what's really making the difference today. Oh, and giving her a lot of credit here, but she did have a nice minus 26.5 wind compensation points, so that does not hurt. So Maja into 3rd place and qualified. China currently 1-2 as we continue. So the jury will definitely be looking at those compensation points and making sure they keep an eye on the wind, but we are ready to keep it going. Next up on the hill, this is Bing Dong. Ooh. She has a lot of height, but shaking around a little bit in the top part. Bing Dong, 29 years old, and the fans are excited to be cheering for their countrywomen. 120.5 meters, minus 16.7 points for wind compensation. So here you saw a little bit of problems with the skis. She's a really slight athlete, so if there's headwind out there, she is definitely going to be taking advantage of that. And look at that. Into 3rd place, and we have China 1, 2, 3 at the moment. And that is big. That is so important, and that goes to show the impact of hosting a games that it has on a nation. China was basically non-existent, let's say 8 years ago, but look at them now. Next up from Czechia, Klara Orechova. So Klara, she's been having problems with that right ski all season. She seemed to have figured it out in the last few competitions. We saw her really gaining confidence again, but unfortunately we saw that same problem shining here. And so it just totally ruins the flow, and unfortunately we'll see her down there towards the bottom of the list. Okay, so Klara into 14th. That means Martina Zanitsar moves in. Next to qualify will be Josephine Panier. On the hill now from Slovenia, Katra Komar. Katra also grabbing that headwind, wanting to take full advantage. The Slovenians, obviously a ski jumping nation. They love the flying part of it. That's what they're known for. Katra Komar with a 115-meter jump. So here, once she finds it, balances out and really takes off. Katra Komar moves into 8th place, so that'll see Josephine Panier into the points, and Katra will still have to wait a little bit to qualify. That brings us back to the U.S. Currently, we have Sandra Sprock sitting in 11th, and her teammate, here she comes. This is USA's very own Paige Jones. Aggressive and direct line, but it looks like Paige wasn't quite picking up on getting that headwind. Yeah, only minus 12.3 wind compensation points. So that's on the lower side. You can tell that she knows she needs to be really direct and aggressive. It looks like she adjusted her in-run a little bit and trying to make the most of it. But I'm not sure that'll be enough for the second round. Jones into 12th place, right behind Sandra. So Sandra currently 3 out from qualifying and Jones 4 out. Next up is their teammate, the final American in the first round. Here she comes, Annika Belshaw. Annika with a bit more height, carrying it down the hill, and a solid jump for Belshaw. 110 meters, minus 12.3, so matching the wind compensation of Paige Jones and also on the low side. Again, luck is definitely a part of it, but this takeoff looked really nice to me. Really solid connection and getting that natural rotation from the end of the push. Belshaw doing her best to get the style marks as well, into 9th place and guaranteed to see her in the final round. So the rest of the other 2 Americans, we're going to have to stay on the edges of our seats and hope that they're able to squeeze in there. But next to come, this is an interesting character, strong in the qualification and the trial round. Here she comes from Norway, Gita Vestfold Hansen. And Gita making the most of it, picking up the air. Anything that's out there, she will grab it. Gita, of course, making that transition from Nordic Combined to full-time ski jumping this year in hopes of qualifying for the Olympics, and she is doing a great job of that. Nice smooth move. And there you could see almost a low over the knoll, but keeping the speed, and that's what pays off in the second half here. So great jump there for Vestfold Hansen. And great enough for top spot. Only minus 10.5 wind compensation points. So hardly any help. And that is your new leader. Like I said, one to watch for sure. Next up from Poland, Anna Twardosz. This jump will determine whether she or Pola are in the final round. Coming down at 110 meters. So it's going to come down to wind points, only minus 8.6. So that does not help her very much. 110 meters. Let's see where that puts Anna Twardosz. It's a really beautiful venue, very futuristic. And I would love to see a full stadium here. Of course, the Olympic Games spectators were limited. There we're seeing some people coming out. Hopefully, if we have a good result from the Chinese team today, that will encourage people to come tomorrow. Anna Twardosz into 10th place, so that qualifies her. Her teammate Pola Beltoska, currently 1 out. And we're excited to see the Swede back here with us again, leaving out Lubno. And we're already seeing a coach's request. It's something we've gotten used to. Down 1 gate for Frida Viessmann. So this could be interesting whether or not she gets that help from the headwind. If the wind completely dies right now with the lower speed choice, I don't know. All right, the light is green, so we will just have to wait and see what happens. Here she comes from Sweden, Frida Viessmann. Aggressive line, and you saw a little adjustments over the knoll, but that is a great accomplishment. Of course, she's not going to see those extra points for the gate because she did not reach the 95% of hill size needed for the coach's request points. However, we saw a bit of hesitation here. She's didn't have the skis right away, but didn't hesitate to really stop the action, so she kept the speed over the knoll, was able to fly down, and that'll put her in a good spot for that second round. Frida Viessmann into third. And she also had only minus 11.1, so not a whole lot of help, but that puts us back up to gate 21. Important to note on this hill, of course, the gates are very close together. This is a new engineered jump, so that you don't have those huge discrepancies between gates. Let's see what Annika Seif can show us now. Nice jump for the Italian, 117.5 meters. So a very solid effort. Again, going to have to wait on the wind points to see where that puts her. Little late on the timing, but here she's really smooth. Good connection over the skis. And a really nice looking telemark. See, she started that almost a little early in the air already. But CF into 6th place. So current top 3, as a reminder, Gita Westfold Hansen, Shiyu Zhu, and Frida Viessmann. But next up from Finland, Jenny Rautinau. Jenny, a known flyer, so give her a little bit of wind. She will find it. Matching the distance now of CF at 117.5, but only minus 10.3 wind compensation points. So you can see, took a little adjusting here, but then once she found this, got the rotation, she just kind of starts to pick up speed and really fly away from the hill. Jenny Rautinau, we remember that incredible wind compensation that she had in Lubno. But here we go. Jenny's into 3rd, and next up and on the bar now, here she comes, Ringo Miyajima. Ooh, good looking jump. There we go. Nice jump for the Japanese athlete. And you know that you obviously remember her signature, that middle part of her flight where she kind of sticks her head out and is able to really fly. That, of course, works better on hills where there is flight to be had. You can only do so much on a normal hill, but here they're really, really effective. 124 meters, and that could be your new leader. Ringo Miyajima into 1st place. That puts her 7.6 points ahead of Westfold Hansen. But again, great to have the Norwegians back at the start. They took a little break there, a week at home before this big Asia tour. Here she comes from Norway, Silje Opseth. Quick to the flight. Setting it down. Opseth is also one of those contenders. Once she finds a perfect flight, give her a little headwind, and she can be super effective. They're unfortunately unlucky with the wind, only minus 6.5 points. So that could be the lowest we've seen today. So I would definitely keep an eye on her for that second round. Distance of 117 meters. Puts her into 3rd place for now. Okay, here we go. Next up from Germany, this is Juliane Seifert. Juliane excited to bring that momentum that she's been building. She's had some great results in Lubno. Now, that was a little late on the timing, so unfortunately not getting the most out of it. And like we saw from Opseth, not getting the help from the wind either. There you can see pushing a little bit into the air, but really quiet and flying as she does. Coming down at 115 meters. Let's see where that puts her, into 8th place. So Ringo currently leading the show with her teammate. Now we're going to see 2 Japanese on the bar. Now and on the hill, here she comes, Yuki Ito. Smooth takeoff, and Yuki, one of those contenders who can fly so close to the ground. But again, I think she's not getting that huge boost from the headwind. She isn't the most powerful athlete in the field, but she is really smooth and dynamic. And that, to me, is something that should work on this hill. A little late on the timing, so maybe missing a little bit of height. And that really didn't let her take advantage of that second flight half. Too bad. But that is enough to qualify Yuki Ito into 17th place. So she'll have another chance in that final round. Okay, here we go. From Japan, Yuka Seto. Solid effort. Much better than we just saw. 117 meters. So again, long jump that we've seen today was 124 by Ringo Miyajima and 123.5 from Shiu Zhou. Yuka Seto coming in. Scores are being calculated. And Seto into 6th place. All right, here's an athlete who could be another one to watch on this hill. Small, but really has been improving her takeoff a lot. Getting a lot more effect. Here she comes in the air, Julia Mühlbacher. Yeah, unfortunately not quite what I was expecting from her. 111.5 meters. Moving back a little bit with her balance and then trying to catch up. So everything that we saw there in the first part of the flight is a result of what happened on the takeoff. So she'll try to really focus her energy on that balance point and make sure it doesn't shift too much. The funny thing about ski jumping is, like, sometimes the more aggressive you try to be, you try to override your body, and your body does a natural check backwards with the balance and then moves ahead. If that makes any sense at all, but if you've jumped, you kind of know what that feels like. Anyway, we have 10 athletes to come, so the first 20 now are guaranteed a spot in the final round. We're seeing Ringo Miyajima from Japan as the leader, Gita Vestfold Hansen, and Celia Upseth rounding out the top 3. Annika Belshaw will be guaranteed to see her in the final, which is great. And Josephine Panier. Also great to have the French woman back in there. Unfortunately, Paula, Nicole, Sandra, and Paige just out of qualifying. So that is unfortunate. Now, Aneshka Indrachkova, DNS, I'm not quite sure what the reason is. I will have to go check out what happened in qualification. There's a potential that something happened there, or, trial round, not qualification. Something happened there, or I don't know. Let's see. So 10 athletes remain part of this final round, and this is one we have really been waiting for. Currently, her teammate sitting in 4th and 8th place, but she has been so strong lately. Let's see what she can do today. A lot of pressure. Trying to deliver here in China, Ping Tsung. Tsung with the height. Great looking jump. And that is how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. Great effort by Ping Tsung, 21-year-old Chinese star, breakthrough of the season. 128. She celebrated the first ever Chinese World Cup podium in ski jumping. for both men and women. So that was a very historic moment. We got to celebrate that together. And from that, you know, she just continued to progress. The coaches are happy. Hopefully she's happy too. Puts her into first place, and I know she's been looking forward to this competition, a chance to perform on home snow. So that is your current leader, currently 9 points ahead of second place, but we still have the top 9 to come. Next up from Norway, this is Heidi Dira Trosserud. Heidi aggressive with some height, catching the wind, and coming down around that K point. So that was 123.5. And although it looked like there was a lot of headwind out there, we saw a lot of movement from her. Only minus 10.2 points for wind compensation. So that was, looks like, coming from her side more than external influence. So Heidi into third. She's happy with that. Currently China, Japan, Norway in the top 5. But this was also one to watch. She was strong in the trial round. She's been looking for some top results this season. Let's see what she can do. From Japan, Sarah Takanashi. She's over the skis, carrying the speed, and a nice jump over that K point, holding the telemark. Of course, that's an area she has really worked on in the last few seasons. 126 meters, so second longest jump. Little pre-move there with the upper body, but so quiet in the air. Takanashi flying and setting down that telemark. Let's see. It's not enough for the top spot, but into second, she seems happy. Enough with that. Only 0.3 points behind the leader. Now, great to have her back. We missed her in Lubno. Let's see what she can do today. Here comes Agnes Reich. Agnes, great looking direction, but not able to crack into that red zone. 120 meters for the German. Minus 8.4 points of wind compensation, so not a whole lot of help there. Maybe a little late, but what I love here is how over her skis she is. So if that headwind were to really be there, she would definitely take advantage. I think that'll put her in good spot for that second round. So into fourth place for now. So that'll put her in fighting a position for the final. Now, we heard from her before. She said she'd be happy with the top 5 here. She's struggling to find the rhythm of the hill, but she is an absolute contender on any hill. Here she comes, Katarina Schmidt. Quick to the skis, but aggressive line. Now let's see what that does for her. 119.5, so half a meter shorter than her teammate. Now, if memory serves me correct, she probably will get similar judges' points. Yeah, looking 50.5 points to Agnes's 51.5, so that's a little surprising. Usually Kata Schmidt with the top points there from the judges. Ooh, and so quickly she moves down into 9th place. So again, all things have to align in order to reach the top. We saw a jury, I don't know if you caught that, but we moved down 1 gate now. So there you're seeing that automatic 4 plus 4.5 points. And remember, this is a jury decision, so she doesn't need to reach that 95% of hill size to get those additional points. Here she comes from Germany, Selina Freitag. Come on, catching that air. Great looking jump for Freitag. There we go. She's happy with that. And remember, Selina and Lisa, currently the two that have the most World Cup podiums, but have never tasted that top spot. Selina Freitag with a 128.5 meter jump. Long ride of the day from 1 gate lower. Really nice points from the judges. So that'll put her in a great spot. Let's see exactly where. Ooh, and into second, 0.1 behind first place. So only 0.3 points separating first and third. That's absolutely nothing, but it is important for the Chinese crowd to see Peng Tsong still in the lead. So that'll be great. Maybe even drawing more of a crowd for the final round. We heard from her before, currently fourth in the overall. She heard from her brother. She got the intel. She took time to recover and sharpen her skills. Here comes Anna Odina Strum. Nice jump getting down towards that green line. We saw it move up the hill a little bit. That could be a result of less headwind. Distance of 122 meters. So I don't think that'll be enough to disrupt the current top three, that package there flying together, but we'll have to wait and see. Anna Odina Strum, always very clear and honest. She's had a great season, and we will always be able to tell from her reaction what she thinks. That looked to be a decent jump. I think she was hoping to be higher up in the standings, but fourth place, only 4.5 points back from the lead. That is good enough to contend. Now, we talked about her before. Here she comes, Austrian Lisa Eder. She's been strong every step of the way. But that might leave her further back than needed in order to contend for that podium today. 117.5 meters. We saw the long jump at 128.5 from Germany's Selina Freitag from that gate. But I'm sorry, I missed it. We're down at 19 now. So we saw a change now in gate. So we had a few athletes, including Selina Freitag, come from gate 20, but now we're at 19, 3 gates down from the start of the round. Now, second in the overall, back on the World Cup, will be trying to get back to her winning form. This is Nozomi Maruyama. Picking up height over the knoll. That's that second part of the flight curve I was talking about. 127.5 meters. So third longest jump we've seen today, but from the lowest gate. So that will definitely see her in a good spot for the final round. Focus and determination in her eyes there. Nozomi able to continue over her skis in the second half. And there we go. That is your top spot, and she's happy to be back here smiling, and 6.3 points ahead of Tsong from China. So one athlete to go. Now let's see what the jury says, if we see any reactions. Now, Maruyama had minus 13 points of win compensation, so a little bit stronger than we've seen in a while, but nothing too extraordinary. Nika sitting at gate 19 now. And I was asking myself what the hill record is, but of course the women haven't had a World Cup on this hill yet, so we will be seeing, so I guess you could say the hill record holder currently, Selina Freitag, 128.5. But let's see what the Slovenian does. Looks like to beat is somewhere around 129. Here she comes from Slovenia, World Cup overall leader Nika Preoc. Way more height than we've seen, flying way down the hill. Oh my gosh, Nika Preoc in a league of her own, 136.5 meters. A 1 meter improvement on the distance from the trial round. So nice. There's that smooth transition and this really incredible feeling in the air. You don't see any movement, but she's just continuing on at her own pace. And Nika Preoc into the top spot, 11.7 points ahead of Nozomi Maruyama. And Tsong from China in third place, so that'll be a thrilling final round. Let's get the results up there for you. Remember, top 30 advancing into the final round. Here we go, results after the first round. Look at how close it is between third and fifth, though. 0.3 points separating what is on the podium and off the podium right now. But again, it takes 2 jumps, so stick around for that final round and we'll see what we can do. China with 4 athletes in the top 30, so that is very impressive and very important. Annika Belshaw there rounding out the top 30. We'll see her in the final. 2 Italians in there, Hetta Hirvonen back on the ski jumping circuit. And unfortunately, these athletes will get another chance to show what they're made of tomorrow. So let's wait for the official start time of the second round. That should be coming in for us shortly. And yeah, let's see. I'm curious to see or to learn where a lot of these fans came from. Of course, China getting in the Olympic spirit. We saw a huge boom in skiers after watching the games, which is important for the industry. And we're seeing great results from the Chinese women's team. Peng Cong currently in 3rd place. So hopefully they start to gain some attention from their nation, and we get some more sports fans. Of course, if we could get the whole nation into ski jumping, that would do quite a bit for our viewership. So fingers crossed that we get that going. But anyway, we're grateful to have as many fans, new and old, coming to watch the World Cup with us. And here's a look at your top 3. In 3rd after the first round, Peng Cong from China. We're getting the announcement. Final round set to start in only 10 minutes. So 5:25 local time. So we'll see that early evening light. 2nd place and back on the World Cup, 2nd in the overall, Nozomi Maruyama. And everybody is chasing her once again. That is your current leader after round 1, Nika Prejec from Slovenia. So again, be back here in 9 minutes, so make sure you don't miss Annika Belshaw, who will be starting us off in the second round. It's been Nina Lucy with you here in Zhangjiakou. See you shortly.
次滑雪当中如果89分，也是非常不错的成绩。我们决定替5位获奖者第4名获得这场比赛通过之后，再次领取1份吉祥物。第4名 ，Two Alpine。如果在这场行业里来通过之后，可以领取1份吉祥物，你也获得了不错的成绩。好，由于第4名到现场，决定选请5位不对，获得87的不对，请这个获奖之后来通过之后领取吉祥物。祝贺以上的获奖幸运者，我们的比赛还会继续，稍后比赛会更加精彩，欢迎大家继续关注。
All right, sports fans, I'm going to encourage you to get back to your seats and get your eyes on the screen. We are about 2 minutes away from the start of the second and final round, and we'll be sure to see some great action right from the start. We'll have Annika Belshaw kicking it off, followed by Yuki Ito and Anna Tsvardas. Martina Zanitsar with a great starting spot for that second round. She'll be hoping to keep her position. And of course, the round will be completed by Nika Preutz. And it will be a definite fight for the podium today. We're seeing a bit of separation between Preutz, Nozomi, and Tsong. Tsong in third, but very closely followed by Selina Freitag and Sarah Takanashi, all within 0.3 points of each other. There you're seeing Jenny Rautinaho. And for all of you who have been keeping an eye on the live timing and understand all that's going on with the win points, that has definitely played a big role today. Now we saw a change in start gate as we went through that first round, and Preutz again coming from the lowest gate and still jumping the furthest, so excited to see what she shows us and how the jury reacts with our starting spot now. We're seeing the last trial jumpers making sure the hill is good to go, and I would say that 30-minute delay in start was worth it. I think overall we saw a relatively fair first round. Of course there's a bit of fluctuation, but it wasn't that, you know, the people that started clearly had a huge advantage to those who finished the round. So luck, yeah, is definitely part of it. And yeah, athletes are gearing up there. This is the first part of the FIS control new system implemented this year. A digital check of the suits to make sure that is one of your registered ski jumping suits. Coach is there. Oh, it looks like we're ready to go. So US fans, guys, it's time to shine. We have our American athlete here qualified for the final, and she will be starting it off. Coach Trevor Edlund there with the American flag. And unclear what's going on. Here you saw Trevor had a word with the FIS representative on the coach's stand. So start gate 23. That is a bit of a surprise. And let's see what Belshaw can do with a little bit of extra speed. Belshaw aggressive, but not a great connection with that left ski. Anyway, making the most of it. And there we have it. Only minus 4.9 points of wind compensation. So hardly any air out there, which is why the jury decided to move up. See, leading a little bit with her upper body there, trying to get out there over the skis, matching the distance of the first round. And obviously that'll put Belshaw into the top spot for now. Annika, of course, coming off of that incredible 7th place finish in Lubno. So that was a career best by far, and excited to see her continue the momentum. But next to come, this is Yuki Ito from Japan. Yuki flying, trying to get over that green line, that to beat distance. Yuki, of course, always known for her very good style points, so you can almost guarantee if she gets over the green line, she's going to take the lead. Ito with a little bit more help from the wind, minus 6.4 points to Belshaw's minus 4.9. And there we go, Yuki Ito into the top spot. She'll be the one to beat for now, but you can see she's not super excited with that. Different conditions, you see the light has changed. We've gone now into the evening. But next up from Poland, Anna Tsvardas. More height. Can she carry it down? She can. A great second round for the young Polish athlete. Now that is important. I feel like we had a bit of a lull. The Polish women started the season really strong. But that's more like it. Tsvardas with a 116-meter jump. So that'll clearly put her into the lead if I don't speak too soon. Sure enough, 7.8 points ahead of Ito. So that'll be the mark to beat, and interested to see how the next athlete deals with that. Here she comes from Slovenia, Katra Komar. 115 meters in the first round. She wants more this time. And coming close to that green line, looking at in the first round, minus 19.1 points of wind compensation, this time minus 3.8, but still it looked to be a very dynamic distance of 111 meters, but the least deductions there for the wind. Curious to see how that contends. I believe that'll split Svardosh and Ito. Sure enough, Katra Komar into second, and I think she's happy with that. Next up, this will be Josephine Panier from France. She's looking focused, and here she comes to beat 113.5. A lot of arm action there. That's too bad. So that Josephine Panier coming down at 104.5. Minus 3 points of wind compensation. But you could see her arms really working a lot on the takeoff. Sometimes the more you do with your arms, the less you do with your legs, which is a very important part of the takeoff. Panier, unfortunately, falling down to 5th place. That'll be good news for Belshaw as she climbs in the rankings. Anna Svardosh from Poland, still your current leader. Next to come from Austria, starting earlier than expected, here comes Julia Mühlbacher. Much better second round. There we go. Great effort for the Austrian. She'll be happy with that one. Only minus 0.6 points. So hardly any, well, basically no help at all from the wind. So that was all her own doing. Really smooth connection, flying over the skis. 118 meters. So that'll be good news for Julia. Let's see how long she can hold on to the lead. Puts her 11.1 points ahead of Svardosh. But the next jumper, this will be interesting. So bib number 6, I think that's the second lowest bib we're seeing. But she's looking for a career best. Let's see what she can do. Martina Zanitsar from Italy. Really solid first round, and coming up a little shorter on that one, landing at 110.5 meters, but also minus 0.9 for wind, so no extra help from the wind like we saw from Mühlbacher. So a little pre-compression, and that kind of led to that late timing, but where I'm loving what she's doing is right here in the air. I feel like she's really developed a great flight position. Zanitsar in the third, I think she'll be relatively happy with that. That'll be great for her World Cup points. And Mühlbacher from Austria still in the lead. All right, next to come, this is the 17-year-old Finn Hetta Hirvonen. Good-looking height and a solid jump there in the second round. She had that nice 120-meter first-round jump that was a little shorter at 116.5. I'm curious to find out what's going on with the Finnish team. Of course, the Olympic team naming will be coming up shortly. I think ahead of this season, we would have expected Jenny Rautinau and Julia Kikkonen to be your standard Finnish team, but now we've had this new action coming in from Hetta and Minja. I think Minja might have stayed on the Nordic Combined circuit. Anyway, glad to not have to be involved in that team selection. That's going to be dramatic. Next up from Slovenia, Maja Kovacic. Nice jump for Maja. Not enough height, though. We're seeing some of these athletes, like Maya's first round, she had minus 26.5 wind compensation points. So of course she had some great distance, but she did have some help. Now on this one, only minus 6.8 and coming down quite a bit shorter at 104.5 meters. And Kovacic quickly falling down in the ranks, down to 9th. So one more spot good for Belshaw, 28th at the moment, if everything stays as is. But let's see. Martina Zanica currently in 4th place, and here comes her teammate Annika Sief from Italy. Annika also not able to make it to the bottom of the hill. 117.5 in the first round, and that was 107 meters. Now Kovacic had 104.5 and fell down to 9th. Let's see what that does for CF. CF coming down now to 7th place, so just ahead of Belshaw and just behind Yuki Ito. Julia Mühlbacher up 4 spots from the first round. Anna Zwardosh in 3rd, up 5 spots. So it's really cool to see all this movement. I mean, cool especially if you're on the upward trend. Less cool if you are slipping a few places back. We saw CF down 6th and Kovacic down 8. That is your current leader, of course, Julia Mühlbacher. 10 athletes at the bottom, 20 to go. For wind compensation, we're seeing anything from minus 6.4, or minus 6.8, which we saw from Kovacic, to minus 0.6 was your lowest deduction, and that was actually from your current leader, who you're seeing on your screen now. That's Julia Mühlbacher. All right, so like I said, we have, I think I said 4 athletes qualified from China. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your four Chinese athletes qualified for the final round, and all in the top 20 after the first round. So that is quite an accomplishment. Of course, these women having the advantage, probably having many, many more jumps on this hill than the rest of the field, but still delivering when it matters. Next up from China, Bing Dong. A little bit smoother than the first round and fighting to land past that green line, but same as we've gotten used to, really struggling with the landings. And that is so critical because that's where she's losing so many points. You can see from the judges getting anywhere from 14 to 14.5 with a distance of 118.5. So she's done all of the work. But it's here where her feet slip under her a little bit in the flight, and she's coming from the back seat and then trying to get over her skis. Of course, coach happy with the distance, happy with the jump, and happy with the lead. Bing Dong there, 1.1 points ahead of Mühlbacher and guaranteed a top 20 finish today. Next up from Germany, here comes Juliana Seifert. Good looking jump for Juliana, and there we go over the green line and with the telemark, so she is not sacrificing anything. 1.5 meter improvement on her first round jump. 116.5, minus 2.5 points of wind compensation, so no wind out there, but overall that was a really nice jump from Juliana. She showed us some improvements in Lubno and continued the progress here in Zhangjiakou. 173.6 points and into the lead. Here we go, another low bib number starting high in the rankings. Second of 4 Chinese athletes to come in the second round. Here she comes, Qi Lu. Better on the timing. We saw a little adjustment So that will see her not enough for the lead, but a solid effort, 110 meters. So actually a bit shorter than I think what she needs. Ah, that's too bad. Her teammate Bing Dong currently in second. We saw some slight corrections needing to be made. Had a top 10 in Lubno. That was a really important step for her. She's actually kind of there are two generations here. So Chi is 29 years old, so she was one of the earlier jumpers, and then now we have some younger Chinese up-and-comers who have joined her. No coach's request this time, so coming out of gate 23, this is Frida Viessmann. Frida aggressive, coming over, skis come on, pulling down the hill, and a solid jump for the Swedish athlete. Of course, the lone Swede in the field. Many years ago, she kind of knew she wanted to pursue the ski jumping dream. It wasn't happening in Sweden, so she picked up and moved to Norway, moved to Trondheim, found a great system, and unfortunately dealing with quite a few injuries though. But she's back, and we're happy to have her. Excited to see her in the top spot now, looking ahead towards Milan Cortina and Predazzo. Next up from Japan, this is Yuka Sato, 117 meters in the first round. She'll be trying to top that now. A little behind the skis, but careful not to make any rash adjustments. I feel like that's what's so important on this hill, especially. If you lose any height, then you lose your chance at maximizing the distance on the second flight half. So she had the same distance there, 117 meters. Good news though, minus 6.6 points of wind compensation. Good news, not for her deductions, but for hopefully a flutter of headwind that the next athletes will be able to take advantage of. We're seeing Viessmann now in the lead, ahead of Seifert, ahead of Sato, and Bing Dong, your top Chinese, currently in fourth place. All right, next up from Finland, here comes Jenny Rautinaho. Again, she's a flyer. She's been ski flying and she flew over the green line. Important jump for the Finn. Distance of 119 meters. To me, that will be your lead. Still a little late on the timing, but look at this part. So still, skis gaining the pressure, making the most of it. Nice telemark. Good day for the Finnish athlete and into the top spot for now, 7.6 points ahead of Frida Viessmann. All right, here we go. Halfway through the second round, she'll be trying to show us something special. Looking at the graphic, though, it looks to be tailwind, which is an interesting change. We haven't seen any plus points being compensation for tailwind. But here she comes from Germany, Katharina Schmidt. Silver medalist on the normal hill at the games, and a solid jump now in the second round, 113 meters. So that will not get her towards that top 5 finish that she was hoping for. That said, she's just getting to know the hill, and hopefully tomorrow things will go better. Really missed the timing, and as effective as she is of a flyer and as nice as her telemarks are, I don't think that'll be enough for the lead. Kata Schmidt into second place, and Jenny continues to lead. 2 Chinese athletes at the bottom and 2 to come. With bib at number 3, you can see the focus and the intensity in her eyes. She is looking for a career best finish. Xiu Zhu. Smooth over skis, but hanging back. Too bad. 123.5 in the first round, and that was a jump of 104.5 meters. which goes to show you need 2 good jumps. The field is too close. We're going to see her unfortunately falling back quite a few spots. And that's the end of the day for her, into 12th place. So that is still, it'll be a very respectable finish for her today. Now we have 3 Norwegians, one after another. Good news for the Norwegian fans. Kicking it off now, Celia Upset. Again, a known fly. Ooh, let's look at the wind. Let's hold on. Coming down at 104.5. I think we saw a change. All of a sudden, the wind starts coming from behind, and, you know, especially at that part of the hill, that's when you need to have enough height to carry on. But here, she's doing her very best, obviously, flying. Her tails are literally on the ground. Ooh, plus 7.8 points. So Upset, I would say, unlucky in the first round and unlucky in the second round. She'll have to trust what she's doing is right. Into 9th place. Now, the jury is going to have watched that, seen that maybe it was a little unfair to be dealing with the opposite conditions, but Christian Meyer doesn't have a choice, giving the flag for Gita Vestfold Hansen. Gita, aggressive as usual, skimming the ground, and at least it looks like there was a little bit of headwind out there in comparison. Upset plus 7.8, Gita minus 4.5. Distance of 110.5 meters. So I'll be interested to see where that places her. Long jump in the second round was 120.5 from Frida Viessmann. And Gita actually ranking right behind her teammate Celia Upset in 10th place. All right, 20 at the bottom, 10 to go. Here you're seeing your two Norwegians, 9th and 10th. We just saw them jump. Jenny Rautinaho from Finland leading the charge ahead of Katarina Schmidt and Frida Viessmann. Annika Belshaw guaranteed a 28th place finish, so solid performance there from the American. The Chinese, 4 in the top 20, scooted, 2 of them scooting out of the top 20, but still great to have 4 athletes in the points today. Jenny Rautinaho, of course, your current leader and the one to beat, 6.3 points ahead of second. There she is. She's giving us 2 thumbs up. She's really happy with that, and as she should be. All right, here we go, cracking into the top 10 after the first round. You know these names. We've been cheering for them all season long. Some higher ranked than expected, but a lot of these I feel like are your standard group. But remember, look at the points between 5th and 3rd. That's really important right now. So close. And then these two, of course, Nozomi spending half the season in the gold bib, and Nika now back in the gold bib, and very clearly the one to beat. She had a huge first round jump and will do her best to do the same. So maybe this little break was good to kind of break up the Norwegians. We just saw Upset and Vestfold Hansen moving back a few spots, but that little intermission is probably all we needed. Next up from Norway, Heidi Dira Trosserud. Heidi very confident with a lot of height and a solid jump for her, but it goes to show that mark set by Rautinaho was definitely very impressive. Already up 4 spots from her first round jump. Trosserud's developed so well, and you can see really confident out there, but here falling a little bit behind her skis in the second half. and strong. Heidi out of the top 10 if all goes as planned, and Jenny in. So a little switcheroo there. Heidi into second place, Jenny still in the lead. Next to come from Germany, this is Agnes Reich. Agnes aggressive over the skis, flying down the hill, and the telemark. That is definitely enough for the top spot for now. She took a little break, didn't see us in Lubno. She's shaking her head no. So it goes to show the standard that she is expecting from herself quite high. But she knows what she is going to want to improve on tomorrow. And if she can walk away with the top spot now, I think she will be pretty satisfied. If a bad jump gets you in 8th place, I don't think there's much to say about that. So Agnes Reich into the lead now, 6 points ahead of Jenny Rautinaho. And I guess, we're used to seeing her on the podium very often in that silver medal position. Here she comes, Lisa Eder. A lot of height. And carrying it down the hill, looking to contend with the lead set by Agnes Reich. 117.5 in the first round, and that was a jump of 116.5. Minus 1.2, so hardly any wind compensation. Again, these are the first jumps these athletes are having on this hill. They jumped yesterday, of course, in the official training and qualification. But it must be strange if what you're used to is a really strong headwind, then all of a sudden you're feeling nothing out there, but maybe that is what a neutral jump on this hill is like. Anyway, Lisa Eder into second, 0.2 off of the lead. I would say this is one of the only athletes now in the top 10 that maybe starting a little higher in the rankings than expected. So we're cheering for her, hoping to have a season's best finish today. So she has bib number 25 of 40. Her coach waiting for the flag. Come on. All right, here she comes. This is Ringo Miyajima looking for a season's best finish. Here she comes. Aggressive. There's that pulling out of the flight. Nice jump. That means she's going to keep her spot from the first round. 122.5 meters long jump in the second round. Great effort from Miyajima. Now this is so important, especially bringing that momentum into the Japanese tour. Of course, we're in China right now. 2 World Cup competitions in China, followed by 2 locations in Japan. The Japanese sports fans, some of the best in the world. Ringo Miyajima with a thumbs up and greeted in the finish area by Yuki Ito. Love that team spirit and great to see a new leader. 8.5 points ahead of second. Next to come, this is Anna Odina Strum from Norway. Strong takeoff and self-built height. Wow, that is a contender. She wants to be part of that battle for the podium. 126.5 meters. Absolutely nailed that jump. Look at this. The end of the takeoff really effective, giving her that rotation in the air, flying over her skis and flying it to the end. Bam, sets in the telemark. He is not taking that for granted. Team Norway, of course, a little unlucky with Upset and Vestfold Hansen, but they are here to celebrate their teammate and celebrate your new leader, Anna Odina Strum, into first place. All right, we have 5 to go. Now we're talking about that really close 3rd to 5th. 0.3 points off of the podium in the first round. Here she comes, Sarah Takanashi. A lot of arms, but she has some height. Carrying it down the hill, down towards that red line. Takanashi has struggled to find the podium this year. I think overall her level has really increased, but it's just a matter of time. You saw a little upper body move at the first part of the takeoff. So that, of course, has an impact down on the second half. Takanashi doing her best. It's going to come down to wind points. 2:10. That puts her 3 points back from Anna Odina Strum. And into second place now. So Anna Odina Strum moving one step closer to that podium. We still have 4 athletes to go. First to come, let's see if she can fly over the green line. Here comes Germany's Selina Freitag. She has her sights set on the bottom of the hill and flying over the K point. Jump of 125 meters. So exactly landing on the K point. Minus 1.5 points of wind compensation, so no help there. Very, very stylish jump from the German and matching the distance of Takanashi. What's it going to be? And Selina Freitag into the lead. So a combination of the style, the wind, and the distance that puts Freitag now guaranteed 4th place. So now, after this jump, we're going to know who's guaranteed a podium. Will it be the hometown hero? Here she comes from China, Ping Tsong. Aggressive, smooth, carrying the speed. Ooh, but we saw some really strong style points from Freitag. Will that extra distance be enough? Tsong with a 127.5 meter jump. So 2.5 meters over Freitag. Remember, the points were incredibly close. Similar wind compensation points. And it could be a podium in China for the Chinese. Second of her life. Is it enough? Come on. Points are coming in. No, into second place. That's where those judges' points really had a big difference. Freitag with 6 more points, 51 versus Ping Tsong's 45. Just off. So Freitag guaranteed a podium today. 2 athletes to come now. Second in the World Cup overall, and back on the World Cup now from Japan, Nozomi Maruyama. Nice jump for Nozomi, carrying the height and flying down towards K. I would say that is enough to contend for the podium, but not enough to really have Preutz shaking at the top. Distance of 124.5. So Freitag right now in the lead with 125. But Nozomi did have quite a bit of lead over third in the first round. Let's see where that puts her into first place, 221.9, 6.7 points ahead of second. So Nozomi and Selina guaranteed to be on the podium today. But there's one challenger to go. Now let's see what she can do. 136.5 in the first round to beat 118. Nika Preutz is ready to show us something special. Smooth jump, lot of height. And she left that green line in the dust. 130 meters. Long jump again in the second round. Great effort from your World Cup leader. Now let's just watch this replay again. Really still in the air. That first round jump was incredible at 136.5. This was a little bit more tame, but remember the points, the lead she had after that first round. I don't think anybody has anything to say about that. Teammates out there, and there it is, another victory for Team Slovenia and Nika Preutz, continuing to build the lead on second place overall. But Nozomi Maruyama back in the mix and back on the podium in second. Selina Freitag again on the podium in third, and Tsong from China just off, just 0.1 off of, or just a little bit more than Yeah, there we go. Look at the points. There you go. Ping Song there in 4th. Anna Odina Strom, really strong 5th place. Takanashi in 6th. And Ringo Miyajima with an impressive 7th. Jenny moving up into the top 10. Again, happy to welcome back full Norwegian team and Swedish team after a little break. Hetta Hirvonen with a strong 18th place. Martina Zanitsar, the top Italian today. That is an impressive feat. And I think that is her season's best finish, if not career best. Belshaw with a strong 28th. Panier gaining some more World Cup points. And Kovacic looking to repeat that first jump again twice tomorrow. Now, great effort by the athletes there. You can see the coaches congratulating each other. Perfect. What a day here in Zhangjiakou, China. The Olympic site from the 2022 Games. And a great effort there from your leader. Let's hear from her now, maybe. Or maybe we're just going to have to wait for her to get changed, of course. Last to jump, so has to get organized there. We saw Chika Yoshida in the frame there, doing her best to help Preutz get adjusted there. What a beautiful ski jumping venue, and great to see the use continuing after the Olympics. That's always been a subject of contention. You build these beautiful venues and then there isn't the support planned for future competitions, but glad to be back here and to be taking advantage of this incredible location and adding to our mini Asia tour. 3 locations, 2 in Japan, 1 in China. A great way to keep the energy up and looking forward to the next stops. One more competition to go here, but here's today's podium and unofficial podium ceremony. In 3rd place, Selina Freitag. 2nd place, and a huge smile, Nozomi Maruyama back on the podium. And something that we've gotten a little bit used to lately, your first place finisher and the World Cup leader, Nika Preutz from Slovenia. So unofficial ceremony, of course, the women will go into equipment control, and then we'll see you back here at the hill for the prize giving ceremony and the full podium. What a day it's been, and looking forward to tomorrow already. There is your leader, Nika Preutz. So I'm actually getting the stats in. There are 1,000 spectators here today in China, which is very exciting. So although maybe the sides of the stadium, what we could see, were not filled, there are quite a few sports fans, and I think that will pay off for tomorrow. They know that Song needs a little more cheering to get her on the podium.
First winner on the big hill here in China. What does it mean to you?
The win means a lot to me because today and yesterday I'm enjoying jumps on this hill.
You also gained a hill record with 106.36.5 meter. Does it mean something to you?
Yes, hill record is always good. Yeah, I like to. It's something, a kind of achievement I like.
Okay, we all know that you like to have long jumps more than short jumps. What is your goal for tomorrow? What do you want to achieve tomorrow?
3 long jumps.
Okay, thank you, and good luck for tomorrow.
Thank you.
There we heard it from Nika. Yeah, it's pretty nice to have a hill record. I think a lot of us would be very happy with 1 hill record. She just keeps adding to her collection. And I mean, what a first round jump that was for her. There again, take in your podium. Selina Freitag moving up one spot, 4th place after the first round, and landing herself in 3rd. Nozomi Maruyama sticking with what she accomplished in the first round with another solid jump. And then, of course, your champion from today, Nika Preutz. We heard from her just now. She said, it's nice to win, and I'd like to have 3 long jumps tomorrow. So while some people might, her brother, I guess, Doman, he's one to really experiment in the trial round and sometimes not go the furthest. She wants to have 3 jumps, so qualification, of course, Sunday or Saturday. So qualification will be long and then 2 long competition jumps. Preutz continuing to build the lead, but Nozomi Maruyama back in the World Cup and continuing to gain points. Lisa Eder from Austria in 3rd, Anna Udina-Strom 4th. So that's been a competitive season. We've seen a lot of movement around there. Of course, the top spot only traded between Maruyama and Preutz, but the depth is clear, and the development since last year, I think, is very, very obvious. Course, I wouldn't say he knew she had it in the bag, but he was pretty clear. So I think as a coach, once the athlete goes over the knoll, you have a relative idea of how far they're going to go, and she had quite a lead from the first round. So there you can see the next competitions. Unfortunately, no super team this year in Zhao, and normally the athletes start in Sapporo and then move to Zhao. This year in the reverse order. So a new travel arrangements, and it'll be interesting. The women are really being tested in how they can adapt to the different hills. Zhao on the smaller side again after coming Lubno to this large hill and then to Zhao and then back to the large hill in Sapporo. It's going to be exciting and just a fun tour overall. I think the Asia tours is something very special. It's for a lot of the European nations, it's the longest time they spend on the road together. And while normally you get to be really close with your specific team, after the Asian tour you spend so much time with the whole ski jumping circuit kind of moving around together that it really strengthens those relationships as well. Really, really special, and I think a very important part of the World Cup circuit. Anyway, it's been a great day here in China. The Chinese team delivering 4 athletes in the top 30 and their top finisher in 4th today. So we're definitely going to be cheering for her to land back on the podium. She's got it in her. She, I would say, could have had it with a telemark, but easy to be the backseat driver over here. So instead of Tsong on the podium, it was Selina Freitag with that magnificent second round effort. We're just hanging around here for the official prize giving ceremony and a chance to enjoy the Slovenian national anthem once again. All right, here we go. We're hearing the FIS music, which can mean only one thing. It is time for the official prize giving ceremony. Now for today's World Cup competition, this is the podium for the FIS Viessmann Ski Jumping World Cup in Zhangjiakou, China. In third place from Germany, Selina Freitag. And in second place from Japan, Nozomi Maruyama. And today's winner and hill record holder from Slovenia, Nika Prejoc. And a big congratulations to today's winners, Nika Prejoc, Nozomi Maruyama, and Selina Freitag. And as you can see, the Chinese fans have arrived and they are here to cheer on the competitors. What a performance it has been today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of Slovenia. 女士们、先生们，请起立，奏斯洛文尼亚国歌。
And there you have it. Congratulations to today's podium and to today's winner. Nika Prejoc, of course, on top again, celebrating a hill record and a continued build out on the lead in the World Cup overall. Looking forward to seeing you back here at the same time tomorrow, so wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute treat to be with you here today. And see you back on the hill tomorrow. This has been Nina Lucy with you. Bye-bye for now.